and the mood is that of anger, because you know, it was a surprise. It came as a surprise to many. Nobody actually expected Wickremesinghe to took that drastic action soon after, even less than, as you correctly said, less than 24 hours after he took office as the new president of Sri Lanka. Even the protesters, I spoke to several protesters yesterday who have been camping, who have been marching, who have been protesting, and also enjoying at Gotagogama for several months, and they were not happy that Wickremesinghe came to power. They were not happy that Wickremesinghe became the president, because he's one of the most unpopular politicians in Sri Lanka at the moment. But at the same time, they were kind of happy to, they were about to accept it is the verdict of the parliament, though it is many people say this parliament has run out of its mandate too, but it was the verdict of the parliament, it was the constitutional verdict. So protesters were about to leave, about to give some time to Wickremesinghe, but suddenly this happened. So the mood is one of anger.
Security forces took control of the entire secretariat, which was recently stormed by thousands of protesters.
जो बॉर्डर्स के जवान हैं वो सड़कों पर उतर कर आ गए हैं और एक तरफ जो है ये प्रदर्शनकारी जो है वो लगातार यहाँ पर तैनात हैं, इनकी तरफ से लगातार नारेबाजी जो है की जा रही है.
Protesters had feared a crackdown by Wickremesinghe, who is seen as an ally of the Rajapaksas.
They are going to destroy us, but we never give up. We are the people who want to clean this nasty politics.
Wickremesinghe was sworn in on Thursday after winning a parliamentary vote. He in turn appointed another Rajapaksa ally, Dinesh Gunawardene, as Prime Minister. While Wickremesinghe has vowed to pull Sri Lanka out of a crippling economic crisis. Will the brutal crackdown on protesters further fuel the fire that has been spreading through the country for more than 100 days?
There's an uneasy calm across Colombo, especially in and around the Galle Face protest site. After the midnight crackdown by the military troops, protesters are not anywhere to be seen in and around this place. This is where the presidential secretariat is located, but it's heavily guarded. We can only find security personnel deployed in and around this place, and every road that leads to the Galle Face protest site, all roads are heavily barricaded, and it's not easy for anyone to come closer to this place because of the kind of deployment that we are seeing. Every road that leads to this particular Galle Face protest site, every place is now heavily guarded, and they are trying to ensure that protesters do not gather in huge numbers. In the midnight crackdown, many of the tents belonging to the deaf and dumb community, to the injured soldiers, all of them were dismantled late last night, and many protesters who were trying to record those scenes were assaulted. Not just protesters, a few journalists also were assaulted late last night. And while Ranil maintains that it's time for Sri Lanka to establish political stability and not allow protesters to continue protesting and give his government some time to work on strategies and ensure that Sri Lanka gets back on track, protesters say that this is something that shouldn't have happened, because they had promised that they will be vacating this place at around noon today. So while they wanted to vacate the place and while they wanted to reach a middle ground with Ranil, why was there a need for a midnight crackdown? That's what protesters are saying, and they are very angry that all this happened. They were assaulted, and many protesters were forced to leave from here because of the kind of midnight crackdown and the drama that unfolded late last night. However, at the moment, there's an uneasy calm before the big storm. Protesters say that their protests will continue, and on the 25th of July, they plan a big rally and have invited citizens of Sri Lanka to join their protests. And right now, heavy security deployment in and around the Galle Face to ensure that protesters don't come anywhere closer to this place. Protesters don't gather. Earlier today at Fort Railway Station, or outside Fort Railway Station, protesters gathered holding placards against Ranil Wickremesinghe. But when they tried to march towards this particular presidential palace, they were stopped by the security personnel. So